Ollie, you require 76.
Match opportunity for Holtkamp.
Match to Holtkamp. That's a great finish and a perfect start to Group C for him. Finishing in the bottom 3 in Group A, I'm sure that didn't make him feel too good when he went back to his accommodation last night. But that is an excellent performance, averaging over 91 in that contest and 50% on the doubles. He will be elated in getting that 4-2 victory ahead of playing against Neil Menier a little bit later on. When we come back, it will be Menier in his debut match here, and he's up against Big Jimmy. Just a little bit too erratic at times.
Bit of inconsistency, absolutely. That was the problem. Double 15, though, here for Neil Menier to level us up and get that throw back. Become the favourite once again to pick up the victory here and get his first 2 points at the Super Series.
Opportunity. Now Neil has another chance at the single one. This time he gets it, but only just. And finds the match. But only just. It is an opening debut win for Neil Menier, who really did play pretty well at the start of that one. Ground his way through that one. You can see the averages are extremely similar. And not a great deal between them in the checkers as well, because they've both had 11 attempts, but it's Neil who gets that vital 4th success to get 2 points on the board in round 1. When we come back, it will be Steve Hine, the Muffin Man, up against Bam Bam Bradley Brooks of Blackburn. It's a mouthful for most. Is it going to be a handful for Steve Hine after the break? We'll never know if that was in.
18.
But the second dart denied him. And we're going the distance after Bradley Brooks has had 2 match darts. He was 4.
108.
Oh, how big will that be?
Bradley requires.
Doesn't get many 180s. That's his first of the game. Brooks does not get a shot at the bullseye, and Hine could steal this match away from Bam Bam right at the death. Treble 9 for tops, and in a flash, he gets a mere 247 points in 5 darts to win that match, to join Ola Holtkamp and Neil Menier towards the top of the table on 2 points after round 1. That's a good performance. Bradley was averaging 73 when he was 3-2 up. He wasn't able to lift that level much, and Hine takes full advantage of his chance to win the match, and he gets the win by 4 legs to 3. When we come back, it will be the start of round number 2, and it will be Cornwall's Neil Menier coming back up against Holtkamp. Himself in that same sort of range that he was in leg 1. Does it make any difference this time? That's not a good dart. That makes this one really tough. How good was that? We've seen a couple of belters already today. One from Jimmy Van Schie and now one from Holtkamp. Treble 19 for double. For the double. And doubles the lead. John O'Shea with a great pick up there for 2-0 against Steve Hine. This is the ideal way to respond after losing your first match.
Game on.
Well, I'm going to go full Joker on you here because I'm a big fan of the Joker, just like John is. When I was growing up, Jack Nicholson was my favourite Joker. But I've got to say it, even though Jack was brilliant back in 1989, Heath Ledger just edges it with that posthumous Oscar. And it's some of the lines that he came up with, or he was given by Christopher Nolan.
I know who Heath Ledger is, actually. There's an actor I know. And I never knew he was the Joker, but this is a Joker that is showing us the quality. I wonder what line he might have if he can pop out the 9-darter.
Well, John, if you're good at something, never do it for free. There's one of the lines from Heath in that movie.
95.
John O'Shea's a pretty good player as well. He's on the cusp of 4-0. Decides not to go 14 bull there, Matt. What do you think of that?
I like it because the other way round, Steve Hine would have done exactly 44. The same, and in his mind, he'll just say, if you're good enough.
Shouldn't have done it, John. Oh, he just gets
103.
away with it.
John, you require 40.
Living on the edge is the Joker. Does the Joker have points? He's
Game
got
shot
points
and the match,
and a point
John
to prove
O'Shea.
over the next 3 games that he plays, but he has got points on the board. That's the most important thing right now. And the man from Southwest Ireland has done an exceptional job there. It may not be his ultimate output that he wants, but it is a step in the right direction, and he creates himself some positive leg difference as well with that 4-0 win over the Muffin Man. Van Schie against Brooks is coming up at the end of round number 2. I wonder what's going to happen in that game. Join us after the break to find out. Now, Bradley, get yourself into 2-dart range here minimum and hope that Jimmy does not complete that 56.
100.
2-dart range it is.
Jimmy, you require 56.
Beautiful last start there from Bradley Brooks. Just to put Jimmy Van Schie on alert.
Oh,
Shot
he's
the
used the
sixth
guide
leg,
to
Jimmy Van
perfection
Schie.
there. This will feel extremely familiar to these two.
Got to stand at the back of the stage. But Jimmy might not even get a dart by not staying straight. He's going to need to find a treble in order to get a match dart.
He's found it. Match start at double 16.
44.
It's pain for
Bradley, you
him.
require 20.
It could be relief for Brooks. It is relief
shot
for
and the
Brooks.
match,
He had
Bradley
match darts
Brooks.
in his first game and lost it by 4 legs to 3. He had match darts and missed them, but then eventually gets over the line. That big puff of the cheeks at the end gives him an average of 90.74, and usually that's a good performance. But considering he missed 7 darts at double and the average came down by about 17 after the second leg, I think there's more in the tank for Bam Bam. But more from Jimmy is going to be needed as we go into round number 3. Steve Hine will take on Ola Holtkamp in Game 7. Don't miss that. It's coming up after this.
Leaves a
Steve, you
finish.
require 73.
That's what you got to do. You got to give yourself as much hope and opportunity as possible. Especially after you've just seen your opponent miss a couple of handfuls,
Game
but
shot on
no
the
more
fourth
missing
leg,
here
Steve
for
Hine.
Steve Hine. And again, he's got a favourite double of tops and doesn't opt to go to the 12 to leave tops. I had this conversation with Steve Hine for years and it still doesn't make sense, but regardless of that, he is double 16 away from getting his
26.
second victory of the day and keeping
Steve,
himself
you
well
require
and truly
32.
in the mix.
He beat Bradley Brooks earlier,
Shot and the match,
and he has
Steve
beaten
Hine.
Ola Holtkamp. Apparently, Steve Hine doesn't make sense. But the Muffin Man has got 4 points in the table alongside Ola Holtkamp. So those two guys on the stage right now are leading the field. And that's a good performance from Steve. Averaged over 92 there. 4 out of 11 on the doubles. That's about mean here for the Super Series. And that performance will give him confidence before he plays Neil Mania in game number 10. Speaking of Neil, he's back against Bradley Brooks after this. Bradley's done his job
Neil, you
there
require
to leave the double.
144.
He might not be back. He might not be back. He's not coming
Shot
back.
on the second leg, Neil Mania.
That is a dagger to the ribs, and he's just twisted the dagger as well. Welcome to the
Third
Super
leg,
Series,
it's
Bradley.
Neil to throw
There are lots of
first.
players who can do that.
And one thing that is new for Neil Mania is experience up here on the Super Series stages here on debut, as is Bradley Brooks. But this debutant, Neil Mania, is getting stronger as the day goes on. And he's looking good here for his second victory of his campaign.
And our second 4-0 of the day.
81. Neil, you require 40.
In just under 10 minutes, he's on a match dart. And it's the
Game
only
shot
one he
and the match,
needs.
Neil
He's just
Mania.
beaten a former World Youth Champion by 4 legs to 0. Bradley Brooks is shocked by that game, but you've got to say that game turned when Neil hit that 144 checkout when Bradley was on a double, and Bradley could not recover from that point. That is a really impressive display. The average isn't massive, but 4 out of 4 on the doubles for the first time today from anybody, and Neil Mania is here to play and possibly here to qualify over the next couple of days. We're going to see John O'Shea back at the hockey next. He's up against Jimmy Van Schie, who needs points, and he needs them fast. Hard to get past that dart, but not impossible. Oh, that's a world-class 116 from Jimmy. Yeah.
John,
and the pencil 44. Is this game. If he hits tops, it's gone. Ta-da!
Undermatch, John O'Shea.
Just like that, the game disappears. 4 legs to 2. And an excellent performance from the Joker. 94.88 the average. And the doubles 4 from 9. That's more like it for John, who goes to 4 points in the table. And Jimmy is still pointless at the foot of the table. He has lost 3 games now and is in great deal of danger of not making the top 2 even at this early stage. Steve Hine and Neil Menier are very much in with a shout of the top 2 by the end of the day, but whoever wins the next one will have a greater chance. But in every likelihood, he could come back. However, Menier, who's got the biggest out of the day, is on for something bigger.
125.
If only that had been dart 2,
Steve, you require
could have had a shot at double 18 to take it to 6 legs.
Game shot.
And Steve Hine does find the match dart for 4-1, and he is going to go to 6 points in the table. He hasn't played his best stuff today, but he has found just about enough to put himself in the reckoning with 1 match to go. He's got Jimmy Van Schie in game 13, and his day will be done, but he will enjoy the fact that he's just beaten Neil Menier by 4 legs to 1 to start off round number 4. Speaking of Jimmy Van Schie, he's up against Ollie Holtkamp, who's had a bit of a break. What is he going to do in round number 4? Averaging over 93.
Game shot.
And the job is done this time, and he gets his first points of the group. And he might just have 2 points after 4 rounds, but don't be fooled. He is very much part of the equation if he can get a result against Steve Hine in his next game, which won't be far away. That's what he's just done. Ticking a lot of boxes right there. No 180s, but good doubling and an excellent overall performance, averaging over 92. He will wait that 1 match and then be back against Steve Hine. That match is coming right up, and it's Bradley Brooks against John O'Shea.
More time
John,
and luxury.
40. No score.
Can't use the luxury, though.
Bradley, you require 70.
Does Bam Bam take us to leg 7? 1 dart at tops.
30.
Really well thrown.
John,
that was not far away.
40.
Double 10. O'Shea wins it this time with a pinpoint 10s. That double cost him a little bit earlier on. But Bradley Brooks has now lost 2 games in a row and is in a dogfight to stay in contention going into Friday, whereas John O'Shea has made his presence felt ever since he lost the first game of the day. Not a classic by any means, both averaging 74, but you can see that they both had similar amounts of chances as well. It was John O'Shea that took them, and he gets the 2 points, which could be vital for his qualification in just over 24 hours. Jimmy Van Schie has got his first win in the bank in game number 11. In game 13, will he get another against Steve Hine?
That'll be noted by Steve Hine, who does like to get involved in those little mini battles.
Tops for a toffee blast, just like that. And immediately my eyes divert to the back of his shirt.
Steve, you require 115.
The world leaders in that department. I like this play. It's tops. Well, he's just at it here with the toffee-flavoured finishes. That's 2 ton plus outs. Instead of being on something like 96, he's got to find that, and this.
Game shot, undermatch.
What a wonderful way to end your day. And Jimmy's just done himself a favour, but don't underestimate just what he's done for everybody else as well. He's restricted the Muffin Man to 6 points and embellished his chances of getting through this group in the top 2 by winning there against a 98.74 average. And he will finish the day with 2 consecutive wins to be part of the equation and in the chasing pack come tomorrow at 1 p.m. John O'Shea has now got a chance to be at the top of the table on points on his own if he beats Neil Menier next.
John, you require
It's still
10.
on. He's hit it 3 times now.
Leg, John O'Shea.
He's going for some sort of history.
6 darts.
I said at the start of the day that John O'Shea wanted to introduce a little bit of chaos to Portsmouth. He has thrown chaos to Group C. With a capital C, it's chaos for the Joker, and the top spot is his overnight. A brilliant 4-0 win, and he averages just over 80 in that game. Not a vintage performance, but that's all down to the doubles. 4 hits from 18, but the key thing is 8 points out of 10, and he will top the table going into Friday. One more match coming your way to finalise our situation here on Thursday afternoon. Bradley Brooks to take on Ola Holtkamp. And he doesn't find the match dart.
16.
Bam. Just like that. It's 3-3. And he's been here today already. In his first game, he lost off from that, unfortunately for him. Don't look, Brad. Oliver's doing plenty here on his throw, and he's doing his job
83.
very well until dart 3. He's at the point where he needs mistakes from the German, and plenty of them.
83.
He's been quite efficient on the doubles today, just like he has been all week. So if he does get to a match-winning double in this final leg of the afternoon, you do expect him to hit it, especially with time to spare.
100.
That was a really interesting play. With Bradley on 288, was that a risky play?
56.
I think it was.
Ollie, you require 78.
He could have displaced his own dart. However, with the match dart, he does not take any time at all, and the efficiency on the outer ring continues into his 4th day of the week. Bradley Brooks will be in the basement of Group C overnight and has an awful lot to do. He will face Ola Holtkamp in his first game tomorrow, and he's going to need a better performance than that, unfortunately, to get 2 points on that occasion. As for Ola, he's going to have 6 points overnight, and I think he's going to feel very, very good about that. Let's get down to the stage. Matthew is going to join Henry now to go through the 15 games that we've just seen here in Group C this afternoon.
Indeed, he is. Well, Matt, it's been quite the intriguing afternoon here at the Super C. Look, we expected this Group C to be very tight. We didn't expect much to separate the pack. And you look at the results this afternoon, it was most certainly the case.
Well, you just got to tune back in tomorrow now, haven't we, to see how this one turns out, because I don't think we're too much the wiser. Yes, John O'Shea is looking in a good position, but now Ollie's in a good position, Steve's in a good position. We've got so many contenders, and realistically, I'm going to back up what I said on commentary, that I don't think this is going to be one of those groups where we go 14 points. I think someone's going to get through on 12.
When you look at some of the players at the bottom end of the table, you feel like there's going to be some real moving and shaking, particularly in the early rounds of matches.
Oh, tomorrow's going to be a fantastic day of darts. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how it unfolds. I don't think we're going to get an answer to who the 2 players are till very, very late on Friday, which is what we all want to see. We want to see the players go through it. We want to see those sort of battles and those sort of head-to-heads unfold. And we didn't see the answer in Group A until match 44 of 45. I feel this one's going to be the same. I think it's going to go right to the last lap.
Well, let's show you what has happened then today. These are the results from the 15 matches that we have watched and enjoyed. Well, John O'Shea got off to a losing start against Ollie Holtkamp, but then won each of the last 4 to be the man at the summit of the table. Elsewhere, it felt like everybody really cancelled each other out to and fro right until the very end. But I suppose the biggest surprise is to see Bradley Brooks where he is in the table.
Former youth world champion, and someone who's probably doesn't want us to speak about former achievements, will want more achievements in the future than in the past. So something like this would be a really big sort of stepping stone for him in regards to getting his season up and running. Didn't have a good Q school, didn't have a good challenge tour, picked up just £75 on that order of merit. He does have the development tour this year for one more opportunity, so that could be a system which he uses as well. But certainly, if he wants to keep sort of that professional player status, he needs to keep that income coming in, and this could be an arena that he may be eyed up as somewhere to come and earn some pounds, but at the moment he's in a big danger of not getting through to Saturday, which means no finals night, no Champions Week.
He's here with Ted Evitts this week. We're going to see an action in Group B a little bit later on this evening. I know they're going to be like swapping around like boats in the night, but do you feel like that maybe these next couple of hours, maybe he goes and has a chat with Ted, kind of using that person who's there with him as that sort of kinship to try and arrest the situation?
I think a lot of this has to be quite personal. Like, I know when I was sharing a room myself with Ryan Searle, you'd get back and like, you'd mention one thing, if that, and you'd throw your shirt across the room, and you wouldn't speak about it any further. You'd more just move it on to different things, and that's what he needs more than anything. The last thing he wants to do now is go back and sit and talk about darts. He needs to go back, crack the PlayStation out, and just have a game of FIFA.
See, it works a little Littler, doesn't it? Right, let's have a chat about John O'Shea, because he is the man who has taken real charge of proceedings. Look, we gave him the big build-up. We expect him to do good things. It took him maybe a game or two to acclimatise to the conditions, but once he did, we saw some real good stuff from him.
Really good, but I think the thing that he will be concerned with is more to do with the amount of darts it took him to win legs. He was missing an awful lot of darts at double at the back end of games. As players, you become aware of that, and certainly when I was watching him, we was aware to see the reaction wasn't a positive one when he was hitting those doubles. He was sort of looking like he was getting on his own back a little bit. He was becoming aware of the amount of doubles he was missing, which then starts to sort of tell its own story. He needs to end that story now, go into tomorrow, and just be picking out the positives, which shouldn't be hard to do when you see the league table.
Steve Hine, look, you said on this particular stage yesterday you really like the look of him in Group C. Boy, will you prove right.
He was very unfortunate as well, wasn't he, not to have got that fourth win. It was a big finish from Jimmy at the end, the 117. Steve did his part. He hit that maximum in the last leg against the darts. He did everything he could. He just didn't get that visit to the board in order to get the game wrapped up. And we'll talk about him then being in joint top position. He's shown enough today, though, to back up those claims and to back up the fact that he could be in the top two come the end of play tomorrow.
On Jimmy Van Schie, how hard is it to assess his week so far?
Impossible. It's very, very hard to assess his week because it's been so in and out. We've seen so many good moments. You go, this is why he picked up a silver ranked event. This is why he's got this year ahead of him that he's planning out for him. I agree with him. It's going to go. And then it just goes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so hard to assess. And it must be so awkward to play against. Some of the easiest players to play against are those that you know you're going to get quality from when you play a Michael Van Gerwen, a Michael Smith. He's a nightmare because you don't know if he's going to hit a 75 or 100. And
he's that tall, he nearly had to raise the camera to the side of the stage after he took that 117 out. We're going to have a look at the table now, and I want to talk about Ollie Holtkamp because he came out the traps absolutely flying. He picked up 6 points in the end, but will you feel like maybe there was a couple more in the tank as well?
He might do, but he should be happy with 6 points. In this group, when you look at the table, 6 points is a fantastic return, and it's certainly an improvement, again, in terms of standards that we saw. Certainly from yesterday, he only managed to find 12 darts at a double yesterday. That's how much he was outplayed. So to be in there competitive and now within a chance of qualification, well done to Ollie Holtkamp.
So that is the table after the end of the first day in Group C. Those are results from what we saw today in Group C. But whilst we've got you here for a couple of minutes, let's talk about tonight. Let's talk about Group B. It feels like one of those groups that can't fail to disappoint, can it?
You've cursed it now, haven't you?
Oh, I've absolutely cursed it. Yeah, there'll be 75 averages everywhere now.
Yeah, if it does, it's your fault.
Blame me.
We always do. But what a great group, though, that is. I mean, we touched on it on commentary throughout the day because we were trying to give it a bit of a build because it really is a quality lineup. I mean, when you look at it on paper, you look at Lee Cox and you say, will he struggle in this group? You go, well, actually, he was a point away from having a tour card. So he certainly can mix it up with these players at this quality. I'm really excited to see how this one unfolds. And pick 3 from that 5. I'm sure you can ask me later to try and do it. I'll give it a go, but
Shall I ask you now?
No.
Well, it's going to be good fun nonetheless. Right. I'll see you in a couple of hours. We'll see you in a couple of hours as well for the beginning of Group B. We're going to be live from the earlier time. Remember our new time slot of 9:45 here on the Super Series YouTube channel, as well as joining our friends over at Sporty Stuff TV, where we're going to see Super Ted in action on the Super Series stage.
Another one of those. For the ball. He's gone for it and he's hit it as well. A fantastic 164 there from Ted Everts to save the fixture. What a finish that is from Ted Everts.
Can he just bump off the barrel? The answer is yes, he can.
Game shot on the
Emphatic.
second leg. Game shot on
And
the
it is tops for the match.